Hello friends, leprosy. Leprosy is also called Hansen's disease. So leprosy is usually caused by Mycobacterium leprae, and sometimes it is also caused by Mycobacterium lepromatosis. So these are two organisms by which leprosy is usually occurred. And leprosy is also called Hansen's disease, and which is a very important infectious disease and most communicable disease which is commonly seen in developing countries and in poor countries and countries where illiteracy is high, and in overcrowded population this leprosy is commonly seen. The common risk factors for leprosy are overcrowding of the people, and the people who are already infected with leprosy will have high risk of infecting to other people who are immunosuppressive, or the people who are taking immunosuppressive drugs, and people who are already having TB or HIV AIDS, and people with severe malnourishment, and sometimes risk factor may be because of genetic variations or genetic mutations. So these are some risk factors of leprosy. And remember, leprosy is mainly caused by a bacteria. It is a acid fast bacteria, and it is Mycobacterium leprosy or Mycobacterium leprae. So let us learn the treatment strategies which was recommended by WHO. So before understanding the treatment strategy of leprosy, before that let us learn the pharmacology of anti-leprotic drugs. And in the pharmacology we learn a list of drugs, but when it comes to the treatment we don't prescribe or we don't use all the drugs whatever we learn in the pharmacology. Okay, anyways, let us classify or let us see the commonly used drugs in leprosy. So if we see the classification of anti-leprotic drugs, so just remember the term DECOR, DECCOR. So DECOR is the mnemonic just to remember the drugs which are commonly used in leprosy. So D indicates dapsone, E ethionamide, and C clarithromycin, and other C clofazimine is very important drug, O ofloxacin, and or rifampicin. So these are the drugs which are very commonly used in the hospitals, and in among these drugs which are studied as anti-leprotic drugs, in these drugs dapsone, clofazimine, and rifampicin are very effective drugs, and these three drugs are mainly included in the WHO recommendations. Okay, so let us first learn in detail about the drug informations of these three drugs, and then we'll see the treatment strategies and how treatment is followed in different types of leprosies. So now let us learn about dapsone. One thing you guys have to remember about dapsone is a sulfonamide drug. Actually it is very similar to sulfonamides, as sulfonamides are the first antimicrobial agents which are used by man. Okay, and these sulfonamides are, their chemical structure is very similar to PABA, para-aminobenzoic acid. So before understanding the mechanism of dapsone or sulfonamides and dapsone are having the same mechanism. So see, the bacteria needs folic acid for RNA DNA synthesis and for protein synthesis and for replication. So for the replication of bacteria, folic acid is very important for every bacteria, and this folic acid synthesis is performed, or this mechanism is done in the bacterial cell wall. So the bacteria tries to synthesize its own folic acid from para-aminobenzoic acid. So the first para-aminobenzoic acid is converted into dihydrofolate by folate synthase, and dihydrofolate is again converted into tetrahydrofolate by folate reductase. So the dapsone is the drug which is very similar to PABA, and it competitively blocks folate synthase enzyme, and by that dihydrofolate is not synthesized, and by that tetrahydrofolate is further not produced, and this causes inhibition, or this deficiency of tetrahydrofolate in the bacteria will stop the replication of the bacteria, and by that the bacteria doesn't produce new organism or new offsprings. So this is the mechanism of dapsone. And remember guys, dapsone is available in oral form mainly, and most of the dapsone which is given through oral form will be absorbed rapidly from the GI tract, and after absorption it will distribute to most of the tissues in the body, and it distributes in most of the tissues so that it can kill the Mycobacterium leprae bacteria. And this dapsone is metabolized in the liver by acetylation reactions, and some part of dapsone is secreted from the gallbladder, and it undergoes enterohepatic circulation, and most of the metabolic end products of dapsone were excreted through urine. And remember one point, there are some adverse effects with dapsone. GI related adverse effects like nausea, vomiting were commonly seen with dapsone, and sometimes chills and headache and fever are another adverse reactions which are commonly seen with dapsone. So another adverse effect which is commonly seen with dapsone is hemolytic anemia. Hemolytic anemia is commonly seen with the people who are G6PD deficiency. And Dapsone syndrome is another ADR which can be seen with Dapsone. And remember guys, about Dapsone, you have to remember Dapsone is the effective and oldest and cheapest drug which is available for leprosy. So these are some points you have to remember about Dapsone. Let me summarize the 5 important points about Dapsone. Just remember, it is a sulfonamide analog, or it is very similar to sulfonamide. Mechanism of action is similar to sulfonamides because it inhibits folate synthase enzyme, and by that it stops the production of folic acid in the bacteria, and by that replication of the bacteria stops. So this is one point about Dapsone. Its adverse reactions were Dapsone syndrome, and some nausea vomiting were seen. And pharmacokinetics is very important. It is absorbed very well through the gastric through oral route, and distributes all over the body and excretes mainly through urine. So this is about pharmacokinetics. And remember, Dapsone use is very common for leprosy, especially Dapsone is used for leprosy only. Okay, so these are some 4 to 5 important points about Dapsone. And remember, Dapsone is cheapest, effective and oldest drug for leprosy. And these are some points about Dapsone. So without confusion, let me tell you the second drug, which is rifampicin. And rifampicin is very important drug not only for TB but also for leprosy, and everyone knows that rifampicin is the first line drug among the antitubercular drugs, which is very effective for TB as well as for leprosy. And remember, the first point about rifampicin is not only effective for TB but also for leprosy, and it can kill extracellular bacteria as well as intracellular bacteria, and it is very effective drug for leprosy. And its mechanism of action is it stops or inhibits the RNA production, and by that protein synthesis will be stopped, and it shows bactericidal property. And most of the time rifampicin is available in oral form. It is absorbed very well from the GI tract, and it is distributed to all parts of the body, and it usually it undergoes metabolism in the liver by deacetylation, and some part of the rifampicin is excreted through bile, and most of the time the rifampicin is excreted through urine. And remember, there is one other important point about rifampicin is rifampicin causes discoloration of urine, sweat. Okay, it decolorizes sweat, and sometimes it also stains lacrimation and saliva of the patient, and also it also can stain the mucus of the body. Okay, however, this staining is not a dangerous ADR, or it is a harmless ADR. So we, being the pharmacist or the physician, we have to advise the patient not to fear about the staining mechanism of the rifampicin. Rifampicin is very effective for meningitis, and sometimes it is also effective for influenza, and along with some other drugs, rifampicin can be given in combination for brucellosis. Okay, so this is another important advantage with rifampicin and uses with rifampicin. Main adverse drug reactions associated with rifampicin are GI related adverse drug reactions, and nausea vomiting is commonly seen. Sometimes diarrhea will be seen, and rashes can be seen with rifampicin, and hepatitis is another adverse drug reaction with rifampicin. Rifampicin is a strong enzyme inducer, so when rifampicin is prescribed, we have to check that patient is not taking oral hypoglycemic drugs, oral anticoagulants, or sometimes oral contraceptives. Okay, so contraceptive failure can be seen with rifampicin. Oral hypoglycemic drugs activity, or patient may fail the hypoglycemic action of oral hypoglycemic drugs, and sometimes oral anticoagulant activity may also be reduced because rifampicin increases the enzyme levels in the liver, and by that the breakdown of other drugs which are given along with rifampicin can be metabolized quickly, and their efficacy will be reduced. So remember guys, rifampicin about enzyme induction property, and it has some ADRs like hepatitis, rashes, and discoloration. Staining is one ADR which is harmless. And remember that it can be used for influenza, brucellosis, and it is effective, very effective drug for TB as well as leprosy. And pharmacokinetics, anyways, it is discussed that it is absorbed very well from the GI tract and distributes all over the body, and deacetylation, metabolism, and excretes, some part of rifampicin is excreted through bile, and most of the time it is excreted through urine. And yeah, these are some important points you have to remember about rifampicin. And next, let us discuss about clofazimine, which is a very, very important drug, and the combination drug which is given along with rifampicin and dapsone in leprosy. I'll discuss 5 important points about clofazimine. Remember guys, clofazimine is a dye. Okay, clofazimine is given through oral route, and when it is given through oral route, it is absorbed very well from the GI tract, and it accumulates in the tissues, and its T half is 70 days. Clofazimine causes a reddish black discoloration of the skin when the skin is exposed to this sunlight, to the ultraviolet rays, because clofazimine is accumulated in the adipose or in the tissues, and whenever the tissue is exposed to the sunlight, discoloration can be seen, and sometimes discoloration of the hair, fluids are also can be seen, which is very similar to rifampicin. And adverse drug reactions with clofazimine is mostly GI related adverse drug reactions. Nausea, vomiting, diarrhea are commonly seen. Finally, clofazimine is very effective for dapsone resistance leprosy. So this is very important point. For dapsone resistant leprosy, clofazimine will work well. And another important point you have to remember is clofazimine has advantages with dapsone as well as rifampicin. Some good features were commonly seen with clofazimine. Clofazimine is a bacteriostatic agent, and clofazimine has anti-inflammatory activity, because when patient has leprosy, type 1 and type 2 reactions were commonly seen in the leprosy patients. Lipre reactions, we call them as Lipre reactions. So clofazimine can inhibit or reduce the inflammations in the body. Along with bacteriostatic property, it has anti-inflammatory reactions, and it can reduce type 2 Lipre reactions. So this is important point you have to remember about clofazimine. So these are 3 drugs which are commonly used in leprosy, and let us see the treatment strategies for leprosy now. So before starting the treatment strategies of leprosy, clinically leprosy is divided into 2 types. So one is multibacillary leprosy, and the second one is paucibacillary leprosy. So to identify the leprosy as multibacillary multibacillary leprosy or paucibacillary leprosy, remember guys, there are 3 to 4 parameters we have to understand. If the patient has greater than 5 lesions all over the body, we can conclude that this patient has multibacillary leprosy. And if the lesions are less than 5 on the patient, so that patients can be recommended as paucibacillary leprosy. And the second parameter is when skin smear is performed. So when skin smear of the patient is performed, at least from the one lesion, if the patient has positive, then that can be concluded as multibacillary leprosy. And if all lesions whatever there in the patients were negative, they will come under paucibacillary leprosy. And the third parameter through which we can identify as multi or paucibacillary, nerve involvement. So if greater than 1 nerve is involved in the leprosy patient, then we can conclude them as multibacillary leprosy. And if 0 to 1 or less than 1 nerve is involved in the leprosy, then they are called paucibacillary leprosy. So these are the 3 parameters through which we can identify them as multibacillary leprosy or paucibacillary leprosy. And the treatment strategies were different with multibacillary leprosy and with paucibacillary leprosy. So now let us learn about the treatment options in adults who are suffering with multibacillary leprosy. So now let us learn about multibacillary leprosy treatment strategies for adults. So there are 4 strategies: multibacillary adult, paucibacillary adult, multi and paucibacillary in small children. So there are 4 strategies which were recommended by WHO. So now let us understand about the multibacillary leprosy in adults. So the first drug is rifampicin. So rifampicin 600 mg on the first day is given. So rifampicin 600 mg, 300 mg capsule and 300 mg capsule. There are 2 capsules in the blister pack. So there is a 1 month blister pack which is provided by WHO. Just you can see in the image. So the first blister pack in the multibacillary TB in adults, it has rifampicin 600 mg, which has 2 capsules, 300 mg and 300 mg, and the next one clofazimine 300 mg. So clofazimine has 3 capsules. Okay, so 100 mg, 100 mg and 100 mg. So on the first day, 2 capsules of rifampicin and 3 capsules of clofazimine, 100 mg each, and 1 tablet of dapsone, which is 100 mg. So on the first day from the blister pack, these 3 drugs should be taken in the supervision of the pharmacist or the physician. And remaining from second day to the 28th day of the month, dapsone 100 mg is taken every day, 1 tablet. Along with that, 50 mg clofazimine is taken on the second day to 28th day. And after completion of this blister pack, the patient comes again on the next month, and the patient takes the clofazimine, dapsone and rifampicin on the supervision of the physician or the pharmacist, and remaining 2 to 28th day tablets will be taken under non-supervision. So this treatment is continued for 1 year. So this is called the treatment strategy which is given with multibacillary TB in adults. So in the adults, if you see the treatment strategies for paucibacillary leprosy, so in paucibacillary leprosy in adults, Rifampicin 600 mg is there, and 300 mg each. There are 2 capsules on the first day, and along with that, along with rifampicin, dapsone is given 100 mg. So dapsone and rifampicin were taken in the supervision of the clinical pharmacist or the physician, and from the second day to 28th day, dapsone 100 mg every day is taken. So this treatment is given with passive bacillary bacillary leprosy in adults. So this treatment is continued for 6 months. Every month the patient will come to the physician, and the top rifampicin 600 mg and dapsone 100 mg will be taken in the supervision, and the remaining second day to 28th day will be taken without supervision or in the absence of supervision of the pharmacist. So this treatment is continued for 6 months. So this treatment strategy is for passive bacillary leprosy. So these are 2 treatment options for adults. So now let us see the treatment strategy with multibacillary leprosy in children. So children below 14 years of age. So the multibacillary leprosy is very much similar in the children with the multibacillary leprosy in adults. So the blister pack, which is recommended by WHO, has on the first day, the first drug, rifampicin has 2 capsules. So rifampicin 300 mg plus 150 mg, there are 2 capsules, and clofazimine 50 mg, 3 capsules were there, and along with these 2, the third one, dapsone 50 mg. So on the first day with multibacillary leprosy in children, clofazimine and rifampicin and dapsone were taken on the first day, and from the second day to the 28th day, dapsone 50 mg and clofazimine 50 mg. Okay, so this should be continued for 1 year, and this is very similar to multibacillary leprosy in adults. The treatment option in passive bacillary leprosy in children. So rifampicin, there are 2 capsules, 300 mg plus 150 mg, and then clofazimine is not seen in passive bacillary as well in adults as well as in small children also. So dapsone 50 mg is there. So rifampicin 300 mg plus 150 mg, 2 capsules. Along with these 2 capsules, dapsone 50 mg should be taken in the supervision of the pharmacist or the physician, and from the second day to 28th day, only one drug, dapsone 50 mg, is taken, and this treatment is performed for 6 months. So this is the treatment strategy with passive bacillary leprosy in children. So I think we have discussed everything about multibacillary leprosy in adults, multibacillary leprosy in children, and blister packs about multibacillary passive bacillary leprosy in adults as well as passive bacillary leprosy in children. So these are 4 different treatment strategies about leprosy, and I think we have covered the pharmacology of drugs and some idea about leprosy and treatment strategies about leprosy. If you learned something from our video, please don't forget to like it, subscribe our channel, and please do share with your friends. Someone will find useful somewhere, and some people can get awareness about leprosy. And leprosy is the very dangerous condition all over the world. It is a highly contagious as well as highly infectious disease, and lethal rate or mortality rate with leprosy is very high. So even more morbidity is very high with leprosy. So sharing is caring. I request all the viewers to share this video as much as you can. Thank you for watching, and thanks again.